Welcome back. All right, let's jump right into it today, because we are unpacking a massive, tectonic shift happening in the global artificial intelligence landscape right now. We're looking at a true dual-edged sword. On one side, you have an economic and technological miracle, but on the other, a rapidly evolving frontier of global security threats. Throughout this explainer, we're going to explore how a new wave of Chinese AI models has completely disrupted the market, and more importantly, how that very same cheap, accessible tech is jumping into physical robots and being weaponized in cyberspace. So get ready, because we're about to connect a lot of dots.
50 times cheaper. Let that statistic sink in for a second. On January 22nd, ByteDance, the company behind TikTok, released their new Daoba 1.5 Pro model. Now, according to the research, this model matches or even outperforms top Western AI systems like GPT-4o on various benchmarks. But the real kicker here isn't just the performance, it's the price. It's 50 times cheaper to run. Not 50%, 50 times. That is a staggering number, and it's actively shaking the very foundations of the global AI industry.
So it naturally begs the question, right? How exactly did Chinese developers manage to slash costs so dramatically without sacrificing that frontier-level performance? And honestly, perhaps the more urgent question, what happens when highly capable autonomous AI becomes so cheap that practically anyone, including state actors and cybercriminals, can deploy it at an infinite scale? Let's figure out how this is all happening.
When you look at the data mapped out from artificial analysis, the sheer scale of this price war is just completely obvious. You've got US models sitting higher up on the price axis, while the Chinese models are clustered way down at the bottom, costing just a fraction of their Western counterparts. And the sources make it clear. This isn't just a temporary promotion. It's not a loss leader strategy. We're talking about structural cost advantages built into the very architecture of how these companies are building AI.
Part 1. The secret to cheap AI and architecture innovation.
Okay, so the secret weapon here is this brilliant architectural approach called Mixture of Experts, or MO. Think of it kind of like a massive corporation. If you have a highly specific question about accounting, you don't call an all-hands meeting and ask all 10,000 employees to solve it, right? You just route the question straight to the accounting department. Well, Mo does exactly this for AI. Instead of firing up the entire neural network for every single prompt, a router instantly directs your query to only the specialized expert submodels that actually know how to handle it.
To put that into perspective and show the unit economics at play here, traditional dense models wake up literally 100% of their parameters for every single word they generate. That requires massive, incredibly expensive computing power. But MOE models like DeepSeek V4 or ByteDance's Dubao might only activate around 5% of their parameters for a given task. On top of that, Chinese labs have innovated on the load balancing mechanisms to route these tokens even more efficiently. So you get the brain power of a massive model, but you only pay the compute cost for a tiny fraction of it.
And this isn't just one lucky company figuring it out. It's an entire ecosystem pushing the boundaries. You have DeepSeek absolutely dominating cost efficiency and MOE innovation. There's Alibaba's QWen family, which is now the most widely downloaded and modified open-weight model on Hugging Face. Moonshot AI's Kimi can read entire novels in a single prompt, thanks to its 128K context length. And ByteDance's Doubao is just dominating domestic usage with 60 million active users. It's a hyper-optimized, community-driven push accelerating AI capability across the board.
Moving on to Part 2, AI in the physical world, robotics and embodied AI.
There is this incredibly powerful quote from researchers cited in the U.S.-China Economic and Security Review Commission report. They noted that LLMs serve as the cognitive engine of embodied AI systems. Because these models are now so cheap and accessible, robotics teams are taking them and literally plugging them directly into physical machines. The large language model is acting as the brain, translating our human instructions into complex goal-directed physical actions for a robot.
Let's break down how this actually works in practice, step by step. First, the LLM performs semantic reasoning. It understands what a camera is seeing and what you're asking it to do. Second, it decodes that into physical action, actually making the robot arm move. Third, the robot interacts with the messy, unpredictable physical world, which gathers priceless real-world data. And finally, step 4, that data feeds back into the system to refine the AI's overall world model. Many researchers actually believe that deploying AI in the physical world through this continuous loop might just be the most viable technical pathway to artificial general intelligence, or AGI.
Which brings us to Part 3, the cyber warfare front and automated cyber threats. Now, this is where things get a bit darker.
The reality of the threat, as outlined in the Armis report, is that when top-tier AI reasoning costs practically nothing, it suddenly enables automated, large-scale cyber attacks. Attackers don't have to manually sift through data or write individual pieces of malware anymore. Cheap, hyper-capable AI is now acting as a literal autonomous cyber weapon.
Let's trace how a modern, AI-driven attack lifecycle actually unfolds today. Step 1. AI automatically scours the internet, analyzing human factors to build comprehensive target dossiers on company employees. Step 2. The AI creates and manages fake online personas, called sock puppets, that infiltrate professional networks and build trust with targets over months, completely autonomously. Step 3. Attackers deploy video deepfakes to impersonate executives or officials to issue malicious instructions. And Step 4. If they need to breach a system, the AI autonomously generates polymorphic malware, code that constantly rewrites and adapts itself in real time just to evade security detection.
I actually want to pause and drill down specifically into that third point for a second, deepfakes and virtual animation. Because wow, this is where the technology gets truly deceptive. The reports note a massive surge in AI-generated news anchors utilized by state media to deliver multi-language propaganda. The sheer quality of the motion and animation being added to these characters to sway information is staggering. By pairing perfectly synthesized voices with incredibly precise AI-driven facial expressions, attackers use this animation to seamlessly manipulate audiences. We're even seeing companies like Minimax producing models that rival OpenAI's Sora in generating highly realistic video simulations. By automating the animation of fake digital personas, influence actors can mass-produce high-quality deceptive content, tricking targets on live video calls or pushing fabricated narratives straight into global social media feeds.
But it doesn't stop at animated deepfakes. AI is also acting as a massive data fusion engine for strategic planning. It can take satellite imagery, cross-reference it with global shipping data, and fuse it with signals intelligence. We're talking about processing billions of data points instantly to infer military movements or identify supply chain choke points, giving planners an incredibly rich, real-time situational picture of the physical globe.
Finally, Part 4. A geopolitical turning point for economics and security. Bringing this all together, we've seen the 50x cost reductions, the insane efficiency of mixture of experts architectures, the leap into physical robotics, and those chilling automated cyber threats.
So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought to chew on. As this dual-edged sword continues to swing, how can Western nations and developers compete with these radical open-source cost innovations while simultaneously defending against the massively scaled, automated cyber threats that these cheap models enable? We are standing at a major geopolitical turning point right now, where economics, open-source technology, and global security have truly collided. That's all for today's Explainer. Thanks so much for joining me to explore this fascinating and complex landscape. Keep your eyes on the data and keep learning.